Welcome to the Soulful Spirit Talks with Zsuzsanna Medium. Your chat show to spiritually inspire you here on Pulse Talk Radio.
So here we go. Shall we start the show? Shall we start the show? Soulful Spirit Talks with Zsuzsanna Medium and here on Pulse Talk Radio. So it's good to be here. And you see, every time when I'm coming to you, to this channel and talk to you about anything soulful and spirited and related to our lives and our worlds, I always ask spirits, so what shall we talk about? And then there was this one idea to talk about oracles and oracle cards, but I think I'm going to talk to you about those ones another time. But then for the time being, I'm thinking and I'm feeling, let's talk about psychic, being psychic, what it means to be psychic. And then you see, when I realized this question, I just remember that a lot of times when I talk to people, do readings, do public conversations and talks and question and answer sessions, very often people ask the question, how can I be psychic? Or how can I be more psychic? Or what it is to be psychic? Or what it feels to be psychic? Or what can I do? What courses would I suggest? Or what cards would I suggest? Or even what books would I suggest to develop your own psychic abilities? So having had those conversations and questions, I'm really realizing that actually that is a very important question, and especially in the times what we are living right now, because if we are not really tapping into our intuitive psychic abilities, our spiritual abilities, if I broaden the whole conversation, then we are not going to do it at all. And while I'm listening to these questions, what it means to be psychic, how can I develop, what can I do, just listen, just notice these questions. They are all talking about, they are all relating to the practical things. What do I need to do? What resources would I need? How can I find my teacher? Which college shall I study? Which group shall I belong to? And it's giving away quite a lot of power, I feel. But then you see, when we are beginners, when we are just stepping into the whole conversation, I feel it's quite natural to have all these questions. And then I know, and then even from my own experience, we go through certain steps and certain stages because we check out books, we check out courses, and we watch things, and we either actively or passively participate in psychic development courses and groups. But then after a while, we start feeling, or even immediately, you never know. If you land in one of the groups and then you suddenly, wow, you are starting, you feel the energy, and then you are immediately doing your, you are tuning into your intuition, and here we go. You are on the right path. But we all need to have that, that inclination, that intention, that I would like to do something. I would like to develop. Actually, what I'm saying, we all need to have, that is my desire, that all of my fellow humans on this earth plane, while we are here in this time, we are all tapping into, we are all opening our eyes, we are all opening our heart to know that there is a different reality, there are different frequencies, even there are different dimensions to work with. And here we are on this physical earth plane. We are just these minor little things who are here for a couple of decades, calling ourselves humans and running all over the place to make our life work. And quite a lot of us maybe being blinded throughout our lives. And then just that light within you, just very quietly hoping that maybe one day this person is going to listen to me, to set the little light, But then you see, tuning into the energies and conversations, the last 5, 6, 7 years, the conversation has been really about, yes, we are doing our things, so notice it is doing, but at the same time, we really need to have our awareness. We need to have the frequency rising. We need to have that intention that actually, yes, I am welcoming that energy. I'm welcoming the whole conversation in my life. I'm curious. I would like to know more. And then you see immediately when we have the intention that that is what I'm wishing, that is what I'm longing, I'm open, I'm ready. And it is immediately in itself a very high frequency conversation. And even if you are not saying, yes, can I please have an answer about what group to go to, what teacher to follow, and what cars to get, it does not really matter, because as long as you have your intention, that you have the interest, you have the inclination, you feel that something is working around you, you notice coincidences, you hear conversations, you overhear conversations, and somehow a word is given to you. You notice something on a number plate, the colors or the numbers and the letters. Suddenly read a letter, read a word, what you just needed to notice, or anything, even your dreams. So it's a massive big conversation. But as long and even as soon as you have that inclination, that you are noticing that something is in the air, even if I don't know what it is, but you notice it, and then you put your focus on it, and you give energy, and then that doesn't need to be hours, but then just a split second, giving the focus to your own experiences. And of course your experiences come through your perception, so that's the next phase here. But immediately having the intention that is coming from you, it's not coming from anybody, because you see, people can tell you that, I think you are psychic, I think you are a medium, I think you are a healer, and you can have all the labels attached to you, and then you can go through your life or spend many years just to remember what people told you. But if you are not stepping into it, if you are not inquiring, if you are not sending out intention, the acknowledgement, actually, yes, I am deep within feeling that I'm curious, I'm just really curious what it is, how come that I'm getting the coincidences, and thinking about somebody and my phone rings and the person's number comes up immediately, or anything. You are at the right place, my friend, and you are at the perfect place, because the most important thing is to have that intention, noticing what you are experiencing, because in that sense you are already, your head is a little bit higher up in the clouds, so to speak, but your head is not going anywhere, but energetically you are opening the space, and you are inviting the energy to work with you. At this stage, especially you are a beginner, I always say to people, it is important to say from the highest of the highest, from the more noblest energy, from the purest energy, from the light, from the true light, from God's source, from spirit consciousness, always from the highest of the highest, I can obtain and I'm able to hold those frequencies. May I have my path being shown to me. It is so very important, because especially if you are surrounded by people with lower frequencies, we work at a place which is holding that frequency, or we are coming from a family, so it doesn't matter. You see, the situation is just secondary. But then when we are surrounded, or we are in a place where we feel the frequencies, the energies are lower, more tired, more pessimistic, there is more complaining, more jealousy, more anger, unexpressed fears, or all those things, then for some reason we are being put into that community. But then as long as you are sending your vibration, that actually, for always from the highest of the highest, I am being here and please show my way forward, then you are raising the frequency, and that is it causes or creates quite a big difference between your sensation of your reality and then all the people around you. And then yes, it can have an impact on how they are responding to you, because they might notice the change, they might notice something, but even not knowing what it is, but then they might notice something. But here we go. While I'm saying, especially if we are beginners, or if we are just opening our heart, opening our minds to the conversation of yes, there is something else. There are different dimensions, different realities. How come a psychic can tell me what has been happening in my life, or how can a medium tell me what my mother life was, what her essence of life was, what is the message, what happened when I was at all these different ages. And then when we are asking the question, it's so very beautiful asking the question, because I'm not saying people are any different, because we are not any different from each other. So if you are looking at a psychic or a medium from one side of the coin, when we are just starting out, we might just look at, actually, yes, isn't it just amazing? How did she do it? How did he do it? How does he know that? How can he or she access that information? Is it magic? Is it his imagination, or any? We can have all these questions, but then it's nice to have. It's nice to be in that space and nice to have those questions, because it makes us buzzing, it makes us wonder, it makes us ponder how or where they are getting that energy, So how does the whole thing work? So as long as we have those questions, we have the intention that I am here. I am showing spirit consciousness, my God consciousness, that I am here with my heart open, and I'm willing and I'm ready to grow, because I have experienced a few things, coincidences and dreams, and now I am at the place that I want to know more. I want to experience more. Please show me the way forward. And it's again always from the highest of the highest place. May I have the guidance, please? So this is, I feel it's so very important we talk about it, especially when we are just noticing times of coincidences, conversations, or anything, because those things come through our own senses, our physical senses, through our own physical reality. It cannot come from other way, because we are living in our physical body and we live in a physical reality. So we need to know our physical reality first before we can actually tap into psychic messages related to physical reality of the other person, or not just the physical reality, but then you see the energetic reality. Let's just use this word because this is more compact, or more, that is a different frequency. So while I'm saying this, that when we are working on a psychic level and even mediumistically working, those different levels here, but when we are working, when we have the intention, we need to know our own abilities. We need to know ourselves, first of all. And then you see, I go back to the beginning of the conversation when we said that, yes, people can ask. We ask, I was asking which college to go to, which teacher to study with, and you are watching and looking and reading up and trying a lot of trying and meditating and checking out this and going there and here. But then you see, even if you were told that, work on yourself first and then you will be shown the way, at that stage, maybe we don't resonate with that. Maybe we don't believe that, because we might want to have the answer right now and right here. And then with that attitude that, oh, don't tell me that I need to meditate for me to work with my psychic abilities, and for me to be able to, give a piece of information or work with somebody else, or even just have a good laugh or anything, or noticing coincidences. But in greatest honesty, the most important thing when we have an intention sent out always to the highest of the highest consciousness, God consciousness, that actually we look into ourselves. We come back into this physical earth. We look into our own physical body, into our emotional body, into our etheric body, into our own reality. The job, the work, that's a big word, yeah. The work begins with ourselves. The work doesn't begin in a college or in a class, or buying different sets of cards or crystals or books or whatever we want to name. The work begins with ourselves. Now, if you fear that this statement is actually pushing your buttons a little bit, it's, I'm just so very grateful, because that's why I'm bringing these conversations to you here, to maybe push buttons, to give you a question mark, to give you a sense of wonder and ponder, or maybe just a reminder that actually, yes, actually I forgot about that. It's good that she's talking about this right now. So whatever your experience right now, and then especially if you feel that your buttons are pushed here, I am cheering you along the way, and then you need to know that you are at the perfect place listening to this conversation with an open mind and open heart, as much as you are willing and as much as you are ready to be here. And then you see, if you are listening, it means that there is a willingness and there is a curiosity, and we want to explore, we want to learn, we want to grow. So if the conversation that everything begins with you, and actually everything goes back to you as well. Oh my goodness, I just so love this conversation. So everything begins with us, is pushing you, then, just we need to meditate on that. We need to ponder. And then going back, what is the thought? What is the emotion? What is the energy behind that? And then again, one step behind that and one step behind that. You either do the work by yourself or team up with somebody who's helping you, an energy worker, light worker, whatever you want to label those or name those people, but somebody who is already in quite tuned in capacity. I don't want to use high frequency capacity, but it's more tuned in, as much as the person can be tuned in. If you find somebody like that, then you are likely to be in good hands. Somebody who is definitely coming from light, and as little ego as possible. And in fact, we cannot have the ego there. So here we go. That's a different conversation here. It's another conversation. But going back, the work begins with you. The work begins with you. So since we are living in a physical reality, in our physical body, we need to know our physical bodies, We need to know what is happening within ourselves and with ourselves. And right now, I'm not talking about what is happening in our own lives, like what kind of shopping list I need to write, or need to buy a new uniform for my child because he or she is starting new school year or whatever. So it's not like that, but we need to know ourselves, our physical bodies. So quite a lot of us who are, even from the early ages, we are tuned into, or we want to know about fairies and crystals and everything, and you might be already working or experiencing things. Then just consider this, that the invitation for you on this lifetime is really being in yourself. What is your embodiment? How you are embodying yourself, yourself. How you are bringing all the energies into you. Do you know yourself? Do you know when your body is showing you something, even just a physical body showing something, what it means? Have you dealt with something, what you are experiencing? When you are, for instance, in a situation and suddenly you feel butterflies or tension in the stomach area, or you feel palpitation in your heart area, or feel dizziness, or even more, I'm not saying sickness, but really just dizziness when you are in certain situations, and or conversation with certain people, So it is endless. So the most important thing is that we really need to know our bodies, and it's not just how tall we are, or whether we are gaining weight or losing weight, or what is happening for the outside world, but what is actually inside our physical body, how our senses, well, actually not just the senses, but what is happening with our organs, what is happening in our physical body. So whether you are working with slow movement, or just sitting, or even better, lying on the floor and just giving yourself 5 minutes or 10 minutes just to feel yourself in your physical body. And then if you can do that out in nature, lying down on the grass or amongst trees, that is even more powerful, because the sensation what we have, most of us are sitting a lot during the day, and then we are sitting on our bottom, and then it means that our spine is upwards, erected, and our head is on top of the whole thing. And then if we remember to put our 2 feet on the floor, then that's a different experience than having 1 foot and then we are doing something else with the other one, But it is a different experience when we are out in nature and lying out on the grass, because we are feeling not just the gravity, but then feeling feeling the points of our body touching the grass. We are feeling the heaviness. We are feeling maybe the stretching, maybe feeling buzziness, maybe feeling the change of temperature. Maybe we suddenly feel, actually, yes, this is how it feels like, the middle of my back, which I cannot otherwise experience, the weight of myself, me, unless I'm lying on the floor, so that I know that is what, maybe I can work on myself, you know. I need to work something, work out something physical, stretching, or even releasing pain, releasing pain, come on, words, releasing pain. So anything, if you do it regularly, being out in nature and lying on the ground and feeling your gravity and feeling your points, and then also feeling the sensation of your environment, its texture, temperature, the noises of what you hear, the smells, what you might experience, anything. I feel we cannot be even more relaxed when we are, or well, yes, we can, but when we are out in nature and lying on the ground and closing our eyes, or even just looking up and noticing things. And the focus is within ourselves, what our body is experiencing. How wonderful that actually I'm feeling my neck, you know, I'm feeling my ankle, I'm feeling my toes, you know, I'm feeling this and that, I'm feeling the texture, I'm feeling the little finger on my left hand, because I am giving myself a different experience. It also, the whole experience is, exercise is giving you the opportunity to slow down. And then even if you are not focusing on your breathing, but then you might notice that actually how wonderful my breathing is changing. The patterns of my breathing are changing, and my lung, I'm feeling my peacefulness in here. And if you are not doing that enough, and then you are just doing it occasionally, then it's still better than nothing. But my invitation to all of you, try to do as much of this as possible, because that is most certainly bringing you to your physical reality. And then even if you cannot go outside to lie on the ground, on the grass, and then you are doing it inside your home, it's still good, it's still better, it's still more than nothing. But then what is really empowering and powerful is being outside. You feel not just your frequency, if you really let your senses, let yourself to be it, but then you feel the frequency of Mother Earth, and then you might start feeling the frequencies and the energies of things around you, and even differently, because that whole experience is giving us the time to, I'm not using the word relax and meditate, but giving us a breathing space. And then even breathing, we could have different pauses, pauses between one breath and another one. Most certainly slowing ourselves down, most certainly allowing ourselves, the body to relax, and most certainly allowing the senses to become, even just a little bit, but to become brighter, sharper. And when we are in that space, then, oh my goodness me, if you put your attention to your sense of hearing, what you are hearing, while your body is relaxed, and we are not putting much attention to the body, because the body in itself is as it is. But then once from that point you put your attention to what you are hearing, and even close eyes out in nature, then oh my goodness me, that's definitely something you need to try if you never tried it, because your senses, you will feel that actually they are much sharper than you would ever notice when you are just being busy with your life. They are much sharper, and it's not just I'm hearing things, but I am hearing them in all different directions, even dimensions. Okay, it's quite beautiful. Direction, dimension. Maybe one day we get to the point that when we have the two words meaning the same thing. It's like, oh, that's my dream. That's my dream to live into. But then getting the direction of the sound, getting the dimensions of the sound, because this is a big and different topic here. But here we go. When the body is relaxed, then we are able to be present to our own senses, physical senses, human senses, much more powerfully, because we are not worried about, we are not thinking, we are not checking, because we have done that with our physical body, or even if the shopping list is coming up, you suddenly remember, then you put yourself back to this moment that, yes, I am cherishing, I'm just so grateful for this very moment. I can lie outside in the sun and my whole body is being held by Mother Earth. What can be more powerful than that? And then from that space, then we have our senses, and then we have the sensitivity of our senses. So if you are using your sense of sight, you might open your eyes and you might see what is above you, what the clouds are about, or you might see birds, you might see aeroplanes, you might see the aeroplanes doing overwhelming things up in the sky, and you might have opinion about that, but then you just notice that that is what your mind creating for you, and your only job is to bring yourself back to your very reality, that actually I am noticing things. Maybe I'm suddenly seeing things sharper. Maybe I am noticing the shapes of the clouds. Maybe I am suddenly being reminded of a conversation or a friend or a past experience, just because I'm seeing a doggy up in the sky, and then the doggy is turning a floppy rabbit and all different things. You know how the clouds change, and we are tuning into that. Actually, not even tuning into that. We are just noticing. We are just observing. We are just observing. And then anytime when we have a meeting, anytime, all the words are coming to me today, hey, or every time when we have a meaning coming, or anything attached to, or coming with it, coming with that experience, I'm just noticing it. It's fine. I am noticing it. But my attention is back to where I am, and notice that is having an attention and having my focus and having my intention, that I am using this experience as something for myself, you know. So you can do the same with your sense of hearing, you can do the same with your sense of seeing, your sight, the touch, the skin, what you are experiencing. Maybe you, as you are looking up at the clouds, you are noticing, you are feeling a little ant climbing through your toes on your feet, or anything, maybe a tree, not a tree, sorry, maybe a leaf falling. Oh, we don't want the trees falling. Maybe a leaf falling nearby, and you know, maybe it's a little bit dry now, so we might hear the rustiness. We might hear the buzzing of the bees, or we might hear a frog, or we might hear various birds making their sounds, or we might hear neighbors, you know, human voices. We might hear traffic, so all those things. And again, I'm just noticing that maybe that is my neighbor's motorbike, or my neighbor's drilling or something. And while I am in that space, holding the frequency and being in this reality for myself, I am noticing those things. And then while I'm noticing, I'm immediately having a meaning. I create a meaning because I know what it is. So I'm just noticing that. But my only job is to bring my attention, bring my focus, and bring my intention back to myself, what I'm experiencing in that very moment. So we can do the same with all the other senses. So it is really up to us how much beauty and how much bounty. Actually, I want to say the word bounty, fullness I'm feeling, I am inviting in that experience. Because while I am there, actually we might notice our tummy rumbling, for instance, while we are out there. We might smell either the flowers or the berry bushes nearby, or barbecue or smoke or anything. We might sense that, and again we could have meanings. You could have a storyline. Just quickly notice this is what you are observing, what you are noticing. You are observing, you noticing it. And then, you know, you can notice that it might take you to a past story. Maybe that smoke, the barbecue, reminds you of your husband who passed over, and then the good times. And then it might trigger memories. And then maybe in that very moment, from that beautiful calm space, you might feel your stomach, you know, cringing. You might feel a shiver coming into your body and tears into your eyes. But then our job is to notice everything, just to notice, experience it, and the next one is that you observe yourself noticing it, and you observe noticing how you deal with the situation. It is extremely powerful. It is extremely healing. It gives you so much, even just a couple of minutes you give to yourself when you can do this being outside, because you are so vividly alive in that moment, while your physical body is calm and peaceful and resting and enjoying being held by Mother Earth, and really being as close to Mother as possible, because we are with our palms down, with our feet down, or even if you are stretching, as much of your body really pressing itself to the ground, and that is just so very beautiful, that space. But while you are in that space, then your senses work sharper, and then the truth, I feel the truth is that our senses are always there to work for us sharper and being sharp. But because our life is about being busy and being and doing, not just being, doing. Our life is about doing, because we are living our life doing things. We might not notice what our senses are showing us. We might take things for granted, or we might acknowledge them on a subconscious level, as opposed to intentionally having a focus and intentionally acknowledging it and being grateful for that one piece of experience or one piece of memory, or being grateful for this or that. And while I'm saying this, that is actually the next level, because I'm noticing the experience, then I am observing that I am noticing my own experience, and I am grateful for that. I am grateful that I am being shown that experience. I'm being shown that piece of memory. I am being shown this, or given this one beautiful moment, that I am here. I'm seeing the clouds and the colors around me. I'm hearing this, sensing this, tasting, smelling, all those. And then also the memories and all the conversations coming up. I'm grateful for the whole package, because that is me. Okay, so that is your experience, my lovely friend. So here we go. At this point, we are going to take a short break, because we are here to share about beautiful things happening on this station. So stay tuned in. I'm back with a couple of more minutes to talk to you about, well, I think we started with psychic senses, but we might be talking about different things, but here we go. I feel it's perfectly aligned with our conversation. So here we go. I really hope that you enjoy this conversation. It is landing with you. It might bring you questions. It might bring you things to ponder about, to think about. And you might have questions. So if you are there and you have questions, feel free to send me an email to hello@zsuzannamedium.com. And Zsuzsanna is always 9 letters, ZSUZSANNA medium. And you can find the link even on my website, www.zsuzannamedium.com, and again 9 letters, ZSUZSANNA medium.com. And then again on social media pages, it's quite easy. You can find me everywhere as Zsuzsanna Medium, and again 9 letters, ZSUZSANNA medium. So feel free to check those out, and most certainly send me your questions, how this conversation is landing with you, other questions, suggestions you might have, how you can embrace the current situation using your psychic, mediumistic, spiritual energies, your healing abilities. So anything related to our soulfulness, our spiritfulness, ourselves just being here and making sense of the whole world through our physical reality, while using and tuning into and really embracing our spiritual gifts and our abilities. So that is this show about Soulful Spirit Talks with Zsuzsanna Medium. So here we go. But then you see, the first part of this show, I was talking to you about being a psychic. And you might ask that, hey, she hasn't even told me anything about the courses and the books and the cards and anything. How would I know whether I am a psychic, or how is it going to happen to me, or what can I do, But then you see, the truth is that I am not going to tell you how to be a psychic. this conversation is giving you maybe guidance, maybe insight, maybe questions. And like with everything in spiritual work, it is coming from us, from within. And the suggestions I give you here, they are my tried and tested suggestions, my tried and tested experiences. And I always say to people, I'm teaching and talking from my own experience. We can read books on those things, but if you are not taking on the suggestions, then it is not what is resonating with us. So we are not doing the work, or we are not following on certain messages or certain tips, what to do. But then you see, we started with being a psychic, developing as a psychic begins with you, comes from you. And then we also mentioned we need to have an intention that actually I am eagerly, I am boldly, I am excitedly, I am open, I'm here, I've got my heart open, I'm ready in my mind, and I'm ready to work on myself, I'm ready to experience. So we need to have that intention, we need to have the focus. And then at the same time we said we need to know, we need to give ourselves the space and the time to grow within ourselves, because what we mentioned, not just because, but what we mentioned is knowing our physical reality, our physical body, our physical senses. Because when we are working on the psychic level, even mediumistic level, yes, psychic level, talking about that, we are using a spirit consciousness, energy, light is using our own physical senses. So that's why we need to know ourselves. So for instance, I was thinking over the break, I was thinking about an example. For instance, if you are talking to somebody and then you are trying out your own psychic abilities, how you can tune into somebody else's energy, or just suddenly getting a piece of information or a sensation, and then you are just wondering, is it mine or is it the person I'm talking to? And then in this sense, you are first checking in with yourself. So if you are, for instance, very relaxed in a situation and somebody comes into the room, into your circle, and suddenly you feel pain in your stomach, for instance, and then you might feel that, you might acknowledge, you might have that awareness, you acknowledge that this is my experience, I am experiencing the discomfort, and I'm observing myself experiencing my discomfort. And my question now is it mine or it is the other person's energy I am feeling, I am sensing? So in that sense, you need to know that if you have maybe some discomfort in your stomach, maybe because you have just eaten something, then it might be just your sensation. So your physical body is showing you something, and it just happens to be shown when that person is coming to the room. But it could also happen that you notice that actually, no, I'm absolutely fine. I haven't eaten anything unkind to my body, and I'm fine, and suddenly I'm just feeling this heaviness, I'm feeling this feeling this heaviness and feeling the discomfort. And then you can go with that thread that actually, I wonder why I'm feeling this, show me more. And then you might be shown more through your sense of feeling, or you might have a flash of a picture in relation to the situation, in relation to the person. You might hear a song coming to your ear. And if you, while in your circle with your friends, you might listen to the song in your ear, what comes to you, maybe a buzziness in your ear at the same time. And then that might give you a keyword. Maybe the smell, you suddenly feel a scent, and maybe you wonder, what is this tobacco or aroma coming to you immediately when there is nothing is coming to anybody in the group. And then you are just wondering, and maybe that is your father's tobacco, and your father who passed away 25 years ago, and suddenly you feel the tobacco. And then you might acknowledge that actually, yes, this is my experience, and I am observing my own experience. I'm grateful for that, and I'm ready, and I'm willing, and I'm open. That's why I'm receiving. So I have that awareness going on. I understand that. I know that. I am grateful for that. And then from that space, I am having the intention that, yes, show me more. I wonder what it means. I wonder what I need to know next. So you can say that, yes, actually, I'm grateful for that. Show me more. Can I have more information, piece of information? Why would I need to know this? Or what is this about? So you can have a little nudge, but not necessarily many, many questions, because you just ask one very delicate question in your heart. And you might feel that your father's experience is showing you the sense of tobacco, the smell of tobacco. This is how he's stepping forward, although that is mediumistically talking. Then showing you something in relation to the gentleman, So, but it means that we are already working on different levels here. So that's why we need to know ourselves first. The work begins with ourselves. The work begins within ourselves, knowing our physical body, our emotional body, meaning we have been working on ourselves, on our healing, especially if you have experienced trauma and, oh my goodness me, I don't know if there is anybody who hasn't experienced any of those. That's why I feel that we are in the physical reality to know the trauma memories and work on them. And we might spend our whole life working on them, but at least we are working on them. Okay, so the emotional body and the etheric body and the whole sensation beyond that, all the dimensional, different conversations and all those things. But then that's why we need to know ourselves, because when we are with other people and then when we are receiving a piece of information or sensation, either the knowing, the smelling, the touching, the feeling, the seeing, the hearing, feeling the empathy going on, all these things, or tasting, then we know that ourselves, we are the spirit consciousness is using everything what we are, inside and out, and then beyond. So the work really begins with ourselves, and once you have just a couple of such experiences that you sit quietly or you lay down quietly on the ground, and then you are just being. You don't even have to think about your breathing. You don't even have to ask the question, now, can I have a piece of information, or who is my guide, or what is the name of my guide, or can I have the answer? I've got a big burning question here. We don't even need to ask any questions. That's the most beautiful thing in the whole thing. And then I feel that when we are starting out, that is difficult, that is tough, because of course we got lots of questions and we want to have the answers now and we want them here. And that could be challenging for quite a lot of us, because up to this moment, up to this time, we have been living our lives through our questions and through our minds and through our ego. But when it comes to having the intention that I am here with my heart open, I am here with my mind as open and broadly open and ready as possible, and I'm willing to experience the next step, the next new stage, a new step in my being, in my earthy, humble being. I am ready. Please show me the way. Please show me the way forward. Please show me the signs. And then from that, because you have your intention and you have said your grace, because it's already a high frequency conversation, you have been set yourself for a different experience altogether. And then from that, you might have the coincidences popping up on your timeline, numbers you see, number sequences you see, songs coming to your mind, or you put the radio in your car on and bang on, there is a song with a keyword, then we are listening to that. Or we are seeing something, cloud formations, or we are just gazing while we are in a shopping center, and somehow the lights and the colors come together and we suddenly see something there, and then bang on, that is the answer to our question. Or anything with all your senses. So it begins with ourselves, and it is very conscious. An experience, because with our mind, and this is the most important point here, is that we are using our mind, we are using our own thinking, our own reality to turn it towards a higher dimensional, more light, filled with light, lighter reality when we are talking about developing or working with our psychic abilities, because we are still living in our physical reality. The mind is in control, but then we are working with the mind, because through that we are experiencing our reality and we are turning it to an even better use than just being, well, ordinary. I don't like using the word ordinary, because nothing and nobody is ordinary. Everybody's very unique, but in a sense that, just being one way or another. So being a psychic, it comes in all different ways. Everybody has the ability, and you might have heard this before, and then you might believe in this if you have had a few situations when you experienced some really interesting things. Then you are asking the questions, you are on the path. Or you might still question the whole thing, and then you are questioning, or maybe just an imagination, maybe it's hallucination, maybe the person has eaten or drunk or something, to be able to tell me my past and my present and my potentials, where the energy is around me and moving forward. Or just making it up, or maybe doing a cold reading, maybe looking at my face all the time, maybe listening to my voice. So we could have all these questions, but it's good to have questions. So question everything, and question most certainly your own experience, because it begins with you. Now, I mentioned the cold reading. Maybe next time I talk about that, but you see, when that's a different frequency. So right now I'm not going to bring this into this conversation. I most certainly tell people when I do readings, either face to face or on Zoom or online or anything, that, I'm not looking at you. You are okay with that. I'm just going to gaze over there, because that is how I work, because I do not need to see your reactions or anything like that. So not even hanging on to any piece of blink or smile or whatever the person might be showing us, From time to time we look at the person, but otherwise we are back to the breathing space, because that space is the same when we are sitting quietly, just noticing our experience, or lying outside and noticing our experience and observing ourselves to noticing our own experience. So it is nothing any different there. So my lovely friends, that was our show, Soulful Spirit Talks with Zsuzsanna Medium. And today I was talking to you about psychic development and being a psychic. Maybe I approach it from a different angle, but that is what I believe in. And I am inviting your opinions and questions and conversations. And I'm absolutely certain we will be talking about this a little bit more another time. So from this space, I'm sending you lots of love, many, many blessings, and have a really, really gorgeous, spiritual, psychically tuned in, light week ahead. So lots of love. See you and speak to you next time. Bye for now. Bye.
Welcome to the Soulful Spirit Talks with Zsuzsanna Medium, your chat show to spiritually inspire you here on Pulse Talk Radio.